Hi, so in this video, I'm going to read this research paper, which is Probabilistic Depth Perception for 3D Reactive Obstacle Avoidance, written by Shakib Ahmed, Zachary N. Sundberg, and J. Sean Hubbard. And my name is Amal Jayawardena, and then I'm a mechanical engineering graduate, and I'm hoping to enter to do graduate research um, in a university, and this is my experience reading research papers. So I'm gonna follow a certain way to read these kind of papers. So what I'm gonna do is I'm first gonna read the abstract, and then just gonna go down and going to read the conclusion of the paper, and then um, I'm going to look at the pictures and figures and try to understand what the figure is saying, and then I'm going to go for the results section, and then methodology. I'm not going to read the methodology because that's up to you if you are really interested on this work to do the methodology, because to understand the methodology to this research is it might take some time. So the first thing first, let's read the abstract. So the abstract, this paper proposes a framework for 3D obstacle avoidance in the presence of partial observability of environment obstacles. The method focuses on the utility of the artificial potential field (APF) controller in a practical setting where noisy and incomplete information about the proximity is inevitable. We propose a particle filter (PF) approach to estimate potential obstacle locations in an input depth image stream. The probable candidates are then used to generate an action that maneuvers the robot towards the negative gradient of potential at each time instant. Rigorous experimental validation on a quadrotor UAV demonstrates the robustness and reliability of the method when robot sensitivity to incorrect perception information can be concerning. The proposed method is highly compute efficient for real-time applications and agile robots. So if you think this is something that you wish to you want to learn more, keep watching the video. And this research paper is published on 15th October 2020, that's this year. Okay, let me read the conclusion, what they actually found out and what they conclude by using this new approach. The paper proposed a perception technique to effectively use an APF-based motion planner on a raw depth image stream. Unlike popular map-based planners, the method is well suited for real-time maneuvers in agile robots, especially when precisely building a map is not feasible. The technique is shown to work effectively to perceive and avoid small and thin obstacles from a sequence of noisy depth inputs. The noise level, density, and frequency varies with lighting conditions, reflectively of surrounding objects and other environmental artifacts. Moreover, depth from stereo is governed by different optics and computation methods than that of a time of flight (TOF) technology. The method proposed in this paper provides a flexible, probabilistic framework to filter out various noise types by carefully tuning the relevant parameters. Finally, the robustness and efficiency of the perception and control stack is demonstrated through physical UAV experiments. And they have provided this link to this video, and you can actually type this address in YouTube in your Google browser, and you can actually watch that YouTube video, because they actually showed you how well this approach is working in a real time frame situation. They show you a video of this scenario here showed in the pictures. Okay, now I'm gonna look at all the pictures and figures in this research paper. So figure 1. So the figure 1 is about an illustration of the APF-PF problem. The blue dots represents the depth image points as projected in 3D. The blue arrows shows the candidates for the obstacle position vector. X-obs dense within brackets densest dotted line represents the most probable candidate. Okay, so the robot is here, and it says the blue dot represents the depth image points as projected in 3D. Okay, and the blue arrows shows the candidates for the obstacle position vector, to have a vector. Okay, yeah, so the dots and the arrow shows the vector. X ops, that's the name of the vector that they have given. Let's go to the other figure. So the figure 2, simplified process flow. So the depth image frame. So depth image frame is going to give, and then this is a function, so it's going to be 2.5D discretization, and image voxels and particle filter, probability distribution, APF compare, command velocity. You can give back the 3D goal point too. Okay, so these equations are, to understand these equations, you have to go more depth into their methodology and try to understand all of what these equations mean. What I'm not going to do, I'm not going to do that in this video. Okay, and moving to the next figure, figure 3, discretization of a 2.5D depth image. The depth camera's optical frame FC and the robot's body frame FB are shown in the right-handed coordinate system. Yeah, so we can understand depth in meters, image height in meters. This is how the depth camera captures this stuff, the voxel grid and depth image points. So that's figure 3. Let's move on to the figure 4. A depiction of the observation model. The horizontal scale represents the number of points contained in a voxel. The number of points towards the left of the scale is more likely to represent outliers. The number of points towards the right of the scale is more likely to represent that the voxel is occupied with an obstacle. Okay. Probability, number of points, can be outliers, maximum occupancies, confidence of voxel grid variancy. Yeah, so that's the figure 4. So all of these equations, to understand these equations, you have to understand the methodology. Figure 5, this is how they graph or use these points projected on 3D coordinate frame to represent a cable. A thin cable, the figure 5, a thin cable hanging in front of the robot. A, the first person view of the cable from the robot. That's this figure. B and C, point clouds from the side view of the cable. 2 instances shown. Okay. D is a point cloud from the side view of the cable with Gaussian noise of 0.2 meters added to the every 10th pixel. and E, the point cloud from the side view of the cable with Gaussian noise of 0.2 added to every other pixel, and F, the last picture, the point cloud from side view of the cable with Gaussian noise of 0.2 meters added to every pixel. Okay, so this is the noise variance. So the figure 6, the most probable occupied voxel location over time for a thin static cable test. The thickness of points is proportional to their respective probabilities. Interesting work. And figure 7, an aerial view of the flying quadrotor UAV. And this is the quadrotor that they have, and they have this inter-release sense. So that's the thing, and the pick racer, Intelligent UG, Outser, so all of the stuff that they have on that flying quadrotor UAV. The high bay flight area, figure 8. This is the place environment that they flew this quadrotor UAV. And figure 9, the close-up of 1 AB, BC, and CD run. The green shaded region represents carefully hand-labeled intervals during which a physical object was inside the camera's field of view. Okay, these things goes more depth into the methodology stuff. Figure 10, the path followed by UAV for multiple AB, BC, CD, DC, and DB flights. So all of these are related to their methodology that they prove that this approach works. So yeah, let's look at their introduction section of this paper. So this is how I read research papers. So that way, if I get bored in the middle of the research paper, or if I think that this research paper doesn't really cater what I need, and I need to learn stuff, so I would stop reading it. And if it's if this stuff, the abstract conclusion, especially the conclusion, is that what I want to get out of this research paper, yeah, I would keep reading this. Yeah, so this research paper I really like, so I actually read it before I did this video, so I put some notes on here. So let's go and do the introduction. There has been an increasing interest in the area of active perception of the last decade or two. So the last decade or two. The recent DARPA challenge, it is a revolutionize how we operate in the underground domain. So this is actually like a challenge that they did. I can show you in. So this is the DARPA challenge that they have. This is the website for it, so you guys can actually go in there and see. So it's a revolutionize how we operate in the underground domain. Complex underground settings present significant challenge for military and civilian first responders. The hazards vary drastically across domains that can degrade or change over time and are often too high risk for personnel to enter. The DARPA Subterranean or Sub-T challenge seeks novel approach to rapidly map, navigate, and search underground environments during time-sensitive combat operations or disaster response scenarios. So, according to the writer, a recent DARPA challenge poses a problem of exploration of unknown, unstructured, large-scale, and cluttered underground environments. Like many other sub-problems from the challenge, the path planning problem suffers from uncertain and incomplete sensory information due to noise and limited field of view respectively. Moreover, the computation time and the effectiveness are the essential attributes of a planning method. Mapping-based techniques perform well to generate a path according to a global mission strategy. Commonly used mapping tools like Octomap, you can Google it and see what is Octomap, and Voxblocks have been popular recently in generating a map representation of an environment using 3D point clouds. very important, using 3D point clouds. However, mapping is a slow process. For large environments, planning over such global information contributes to additional computation time overhead. Moreover, the closeness of the map being used for planning over large-scale environments may not be suitable to detect intricacies in the environment. Intricacies means details, especially of an involved or perplexing subject. The fundamental requirement for a mapping-based planner to be effective is a precise position feedback of the robot. In practice, such estimates are expensive to obtain, especially locally, in terms of both computation and payload. Therefore, there is a high chance that an agile robot, such as an MAV, does not map small and thin obstacles. Such obstacles, like hanging cables and pipes, are inherent to many complex indoor environments like caves, mines, and warehouses. Hence, there is a need to use faster and higher resolution raw sensor measurements to guide a robot. Moreover, a full 3D solution is required to navigate through uncertain and complicated structures. The method proposed in this paper utilizes raw sensor measurements to generate robot actions without relying on a map representation of an environment. So that's important. So they want to utilize raw sensor measurements to generate robot actions without using a map representation. So they can save some computational time. So the researchers have shown in the past that living organisms like insects rely on instantaneous optic flow signals to provide visual cues for reactive obstacle avoidance. One component of an optical flow signal is a sense of how far objects are located in an environment. Depth cameras provide this information in the form of depth images related to their sensors. That's what we saw in this figure here. A depth image stream can have varying noise levels depending on the type of sensors, the calculation methods involved, and abstract reflections from the objects in the environment. This makes it challenging to obtain useful information to feed into most motion planners that demonstrate well in the perfect observability settings. So this researcher Fargoso et al. So he referenced it proposed a way of keeping only a local egocentric map of environment in the form of cylinder that updates in real time through temporal fusion of limited field of view visual information. Some other works proposes inflation of depth images using C-space expansion to facilitate path generation inside a disparity space. Later work by Dubey highlights the importance of considering small objects like wires in autonomous robot navigation by explicitly detecting them using convolutional neural networks. Authors in these referenced papers, so it's reference 8 and 12. So L. Matisse and L. Brokers, Y. Quarta, S. Weiss, and 12 is Ahmed and R. Farrow. Demonstrated closed-loop RRT and LQR-based techniques, respectively. For path planning inside a depth image space, reactive control, especially the ones based on artificial potential field and bio-inspired methods, have demonstrated speed and light computational burden. This paper proposes a solution for the obstacle avoidance problem that, one, generates robot action directly from imperfect depth image stream, hence providing an end-to-end solution, has a fast update rate to cater for the needs of the agile robots. 3 is computationally feasible for robots with limited onboard resources such as MAVs. adapted for robot maneuvers in 3D to make it useful for arbitrarily structured environment. The perceptual solution to make control feasible is the foremost contribution of the paper. A particle filter technique is proposed to probabilistically identify and track regions corresponding to potential obstacles inside a sequence of depth images. So the rest of the paper is organized as follows. The section 2 highlights a problem formulation, followed by a description of the filter design. In section 3 and 4 provides a description of how the control loops is closed with the perception information. Section 5 represents the results and analysis from physical experiments. Finally, section 6 concludes the discussion. So I'll let it up to you guys to read the rest of the paper if you're interested in reading about this further. And thank you.